It's extra time. It's Monday night. I'm Dom Aldworth, and this is The Sports Bar.
He's done it! The greatest night in the history of Chelsea Football Club. European champions. They've beaten Bayern in their own backyard. Tuilagi through the first two, through three. And England are going to score again. No one will touch Aston. It's magnificent. There's no other word. Comes Usain Bolt. Usain Bolt storming through. He takes it again. Blake gets the silver. 9.64. Oh, he's retained his title in the most emphatic way.
You tune in to Talk Radio Europe, your voice in Spain. Sport on a Monday evening with me, Dom Aldworth. Coming up over the next hour, the big three London clubs all register wins as the battle for Champions League position continues to come down to the wire. Dani Pedrosa storms to victory in Jerez, another all-Spanish podium in MotoGP. And money man Floyd Mayweather rolls on unbeaten with a unanimous points decision over Robert Guerrero. Stuart Joseph, Richard Tilsley in the studio with me again as usual, and David King as well. One of the chairmen from Marbella Rugby Club joins us this evening. Stay tuned for your hour of sport. Well, very good afternoon, gentlemen. Stu, Rich, fantastic weekend of football, wasn't it, Stu? I mean, your blood pressures had calmed down a little bit now. That man again, that one-man team, Tottenham Hotspur and Gareth Bale, saving your blushes yet again.
My blood pressure Saturday went up to 195 over 120, I think I took it at when we scored. But when we scored the goal, I was elated. It came in the 86th minute, but it was another 1-0 victory, and it was another hard weekend to endure.
I don't know about you, Rich, but I was like watching my app on my phone, the live scores coming in, and as the clock was ticking down and the score was still 0-0, I was tempted to text you and sort of wish him all the best, and hopefully he's nice and calm. I don't know if you were thinking along the same lines at that time of the afternoon on Saturday?
Well, I mean, as I said, it really is quite pointless what happens in these games because I think Chelsea are going to beat Tottenham.
Richard, no way.
On Wednesday.
Richard, they're not going to win. Honestly, Spurs will go there and beat them.
And, you know, and as I've told you, Stu, I mean, it is your karmic destiny once again to, you know, end the season wailing and lamenting.
You've only got 2 weeks to
You are
find
the
it.
Prometheus of football clubs.
Here we go.
Big game on Wednesday. Big game of Wednesday. And Bernie, please, if you're listening, don't give us a ring now. Please ring us in the second half of the show when we start focusing on the football. But I'm sure you're going to want to have a little bit of banter here with your Spurs mates.
Can I just say, Bernie?
Can I say, in Yiddish, I think the word is Bashira?
Bashir.
Bashir.
It's Bashir that we're with, yeah.
It's Bashir that you end up the season.
If Bernie's listening, Bernie, let me tell you.
Also, the boy one's not ready for the Champions
Hang on,
League.
Bernie, to play Manchester United when they played in such a... I've never seen a Ferguson team go out and act so badly and so poorly on the pitch. You're a lucky man, Bernie.
Come on, let's talk a proper sport for the moment. We've got David King coming. What?
Well, I was just going to say David here. I mean, I walked in the studio and I thought Ricky Gervais was on the show. He is a dead ringer, David, for David Brent from The Office, a.k.a. Ricky Gervais.
With his England rugby jersey on as well. David, welcome to the show this evening.
Thanks very much.
Ricky. What should we call him, Ricky? David is one of the chairman of the Marbella Rugby Club, which is really going from strength to strength over recent times. And David's in here to talk a little bit about that, a little bit of rugby with us as well, and also about a big tournament that's coming up. David, shall we begin first and foremost with Marbella Rugby Club itself? How long have you actually been involved in that?
Well, I've been here in Spain for 8 years, and one of the first things we did was find a local rugby club. So, you know, we're 8 seasons in as a family, and during that time we've got more and more involved.
I mean, the rugby club, for those of you that don't know, it's opposite the hospital on the N340 there.
Quite convenient, really.
Quite opposite the Marbella Hospital, very convenient. And if you drive past there on a Saturday morning sometimes, and there's hundreds of cars there, kids coming in and partaking in the club itself. How many members do you have at this stage?
The club as a whole has probably got about 750 members, of which 300 are playing. The players start here in Spain from under 4. We've got teams in every age category from under 4 to veterans. The club is predominantly an academy, so made up of of kids under the age of 18, and then we have a senior team and then a veterans team.
And nationality-wise, are we seeing a lot of Spanish actually involved at grassroots level in Marbella?
Yeah, absolutely. The club is really divided into thirds: expat, Argentine, and Spanish. But the Spanish is, the fastest growing part of the mix. And the club is a Spanish club. We're federated to the Spanish league. All the language on the pitch and off the pitch is in Spanish, but most people are bilingual. But that's really important for us that we retain a Spanish identity.
And many people out there that have lived on the coast for a long time, come from the UK or South Africa or countries where rugby is a sport that's played extensively. You might not have realised that actually Spain, they represented, the Spanish national side was in the Rugby World Cup in 2003. I remember them being in South Africa.
It's very big in the Basque Country.
Yeah.
Up north, of course it is, yeah, absolutely. Alongside Rugby League, which is quite big up there as well. How many other rugby clubs around Spain would there be, David?
Yeah, it's well populated. There's rugby clubs in all the main autonomous regions. Here in Andalusia we've got teams in Gibraltar, and then down in Torre-Guadiaro, which is local. Malaga have a team that plays in the professional league. Granada are in the Primer Nacional, which is the one below. But then the real powerhouses of rugby at the senior level are in Valladolid, in Castilla y León, and, as you said, in the Basque Country.
Okay, and anybody can take their kid there and play.
Absolutely.
Obviously you become a member of the club. Very nice facilities there as well. You've got a little bar and a clubhouse there. And
I'm surprised you haven't got Dom to play for the veterans.
Well, yeah, I was waiting to tap
for the veterans. You're the veteran here.
You play the veterans, wouldn't you?
Over 35.
That makes me a veteran.
Yeah.
Oh no, life is falling apart, isn't it?
Yeah, you're an old man now, mate.
I am.
Now you're 45.
Well, every year I get older, you get a year older as well. Don't forget that. And you're a long way ahead of me. Anyway, let's get back to David.
Yeah, but I don't look at you. See, it's like Dorian Gray.
Yeah, right. Okay. Yeah.
Not like you, Saffers. You see.
Have you got any South Africans playing?
Yeah, we have. Yeah, we've got a couple of seniors who came over for the season and did really well. And we did have a fantastic family of 6 boys, South African boys that were playing, but unfortunately they've gone back to the UK. But we have got a few South Africans and a couple of Australians.
Let's start attaching some pretty serious credibility to Marbella Rugby Club and some of the young talent that is coming through. You told me something when we had our first chat on the phone the other day that one of the finalists in the Heineken Cup, one of the real powerhouses in French rugby, club rugby, Toulon. Lots of money to spend up there. Some marvellous players currently playing for them. People the likes of Matt Gitto, Andrew Sheridan, Bucky's Poort, Brian Abana joining them next season. World Cup winners, New Zealanders, English World Cup winners, Simon Shaw. You've got 4 or 5 young players that have been touted or scouted by Toulon, and they're actually currently there or are going there for trials.
Yeah, absolutely. The boys are playing in the European A Division Championships in Grenoble, and they won the tournament convincingly. They didn't concede a point against the 4 teams that they played, and one of the directors of the Toulon Academy approached the Fédération and asked for the names of 6 of the boys, of which 5 were from Marbella Rugby Club. And at the end of May, they're being paid to go there for a week, which is great. Yeah. And of those 5, 2 of them have also got trials with Toulouse, Biarritz, Bayonne. So we've got a really special team in the under-18s. They've lost 1 game in 4 years. They're the national champions. They regained the national title this weekend. They're a fantastic team.
Who's the coach, by the way?
Well, the under-18s have 2 coaches. There's one called Pablo Munir, who's an Argentine, who's brought the kids through for 8 years, and he shares it with Goofy Servan. And they're 2 very different characters, which is great. You've got a very disciplinarian and another guy who's much more free-flowing, open rugby.
Well, I must say that's incredibly impressive. Champions 4 years.
Yeah. It's been a fantastic thing. They've built this team from nothing into a very competitive European team. Next year they compete in the elite division, so they'll be against the 6 nations plus Russia in the European Cup.
And are there any plans for the first team at Marbella Rugby Club to start playing in the leagues as well?
Well, that's the problem in Spain. Rugby's a university sport, and at 18 everybody goes to university, and Marbella has no university, so we lose our players to Valladolid, to Barcelona, to Madrid. So we're a fantastic academy, but there's no bridge between that and the seniors, which is something we're working on at the moment. We're trying to get the guys to stay behind and build into the seniors.
What if some of these lads get signed up by Toulouse or Toulon, will there be any financial benefit to Marbella Rugby Club itself?
No, not strictly speaking. we can't enforce a transfer fee. We do ask the clubs that if they're going to take the kids from the academies that they provide something. It doesn't necessarily have to be cash. With London Wasps, we have a 3-day training campus, and they send their academy coaches down and they train our kids for 3 days, and that has a tangible, physical cash benefit. That if they don't charge us for that, then obviously that's a help to the club. But no, we won't see a transfer fee for any of the kids.
I must say, I'm pleasantly surprised, actually. It sounds like the infrastructure and the work that you guys are doing behind the scenes, for all these young talented players is non-stop. You've obviously established some very good contacts.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, my background in England was with Bicester Rugby Club, a lowly club, but we were members of London Wasps. We had a lot of contacts there, and we've utilised those. But it's also the fact that Marbella is a really aspirational place to come, and we get a lot of touring teams coming over, and they bring a wealth of contacts with them, and it's just been fantastic. The club's grown with a lot of expat and a lot of UK teams, and with that we've just grown phenomenally. It's been great.
And David, of course, you guys have got a website. You know, if there's any parents who are thinking about it, they can go down there on a weekend and watch the boys playing on a Saturday, and sample the fantastic atmosphere as there always is at a rugby club, and we know that very well. What details can we give out on air for?
Yeah, the best thing is there's MarbellaRugbyClub.com or Facebook. We're on both. If people want to come down, there's always a lot going on a Saturday morning between 11 and 1 when the kids train. We encourage all people to come down and give it a try. There's no age barrier at all at the club, no language barrier, no cultural barrier. Everybody's welcome. And we recommend that the kids come along and trial it for 2 or 3 weeks before they become a member, because rugby isn't for everybody at all stages of their life. And we see some kids try it at 3 or 4, don't take to it, but then come back at 5 or 6 and become active members. So just come along and give it a try.
And of course, if you're worried about your kid getting injured, as Richard pointed out, the Marbella Hospital is just the other side of the road. But a fantastic sport, great disciplined sport, we all know that. Certainly I prefer that shape ball to the football that Stu prefers.
So Dom, what is your excuse? I mean, here is an opportunity for you to demonstrate your skills at prop.
Prop? I used to be a fly half.
Where you played most of your rugby.
Prop, fly half. Now you're getting under my skin. I've got a young daughter I've got to look after on a Saturday.
You've got to be fast at athletics to play fly half, Dom.
Oh, come on, let's move on. Now you're getting under my skin here.
Yeah. And there's a lot to get under, trust us.
Marbella Rugby Club, one fantastic ground there, as we've said, that the stands, nice little bar there as well. Maybe that's why I should go actually on a Saturday. Have a couple of cold beers. There was a photograph I said to you, David, a couple of weeks ago, 2 to 3 weeks ago, in one of the local publications with the mayoress of Marbella at the rugby facility. Tell us what that was all about.
Yeah, we've been really lucky that the Ayuntamiento have always been really big supporters of the rugby club. In the gala award dinners, we win 2 or 3 trophies every year, which is recognition from them. We're a community club, so we have no financing from the Federación or from any source, and we desperately need a second pitch. And the Ayuntamiento have given us the 4,600 metres of land, and finally they've agreed to give us €60,000 of investment to come and create the second pitch and basically spend money in the infrastructure of the club, which will enable us to have more teams and more kids and more people playing. Well,
great credit to obviously you guys for all the work you've done, and of course the mayoress of Marbella, who seems to be a very popular choice. No doubt she's done an awful lot of good for many clubs and sports clubs down here on the Costa del Sol in recent times. Massive event coming up, and funny enough, not at your own rugby club, but it's in San Pedro coming up on the 16th, isn't it?
The 18th, 19th of May, 2 weekends away. We're hosting the Under-16 National Championships of Spain. We're holding it in San Pedro because we need 4 pitches for the tournament. There's going to be 29 teams there altogether, 8 in the closed National Championship and 21 in the Open. It's going to be a great event. It's free entrance for anybody to come along. It starts from 9 o'clock on the Saturdays and the Sundays, and it'll finish about 3 o'clock each day.
What surface are you playing on?
It's artificial.
Okay.
That's the football pitches along the river.
Guadalete, yeah.
Okay.
Exactly, on the back road to Nueva Andalucía.
Sure. Okay. Well, definitely. I'm definitely going to make my way up there and have a little watch.
Saracens, I mean, they now have an artificial pitch and people are raving about it.
Do you know anything about that artificial pitch? Tell us exactly what that pitch is.
Yeah, it's 3G artificial grass. it basically means you can play any sport on it. It's completely durable. It doesn't burn. The kids, unfortunately, do pick up some burns here on the artificial grass.
Sure.
It's just the best thing I think that's going to happen to rugby. It's going to increase the speed of the game. The breakdown contact zone is going to be so much more competitive. If you go off your feet, it's your own fault, so it's a clear penalty. It's going to take a lot of the ambiguity out of the game. And
what is it laid on? Sorry, what do they lay it on? What bed is it on?
That I don't know.
And they don't get no injuries, with rugby, like for come and go.
No, absolutely not. In fact, it's they say it will reduce the injuries.
Well, I mean, if you look, classic example, Six Nations, I think on 2 occasions at the ground in Paris. I know certainly with the Wales, I think it was the Welsh-France game, where the pitch was, every time the scrum went down, the pitch was cutting up terribly, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And of course, you're not going to get that sort of effect on these surfaces.
No, I mean, they're incredibly expensive to lay, but they pay for themselves in 3 years. And the day before the first game with Saracens, they had 1,000 kids playing on the pitch the day of the match. And could you imagine getting 1,000 kids playing at Twickenham half an hour before kick-off? It just would never happen.
Incredible.
So it's going to be incredibly profitable for the teams.
Well, David, you're not going yet. Fantastic, great credit to all of you guys at Marbella Rugby Club, and now that we've established contact, we'll certainly be willing to keep it in the public eye for you guys, and best of luck for the tournament. And I'm going to make my way down there during that course of the weekend. Hopefully Rich will join us as well. We're going to stay with a little bit of rugby. We're going to talk a little bit of Viva Premiership. In fact, should we talk about the Lions Tour? We had a discussion on Friday night once the Lions Tour had been announced a couple of days previously. Any major surprises for you in that Lions? Do you think that the squad that Gatlin has selected is capable of going down under and coming away with the first win, I think, in 16 years?
Yeah, I think he has. I think it's there were a few surprises. I think Jenkins from Toulon was a bit of a surprise to be picked. I think the one thing they're going to do is play exciting rugby. I think they're going to go down and really give it to them. Personally, I'd have liked to have seen the young Christian Wade go from London Wasps, who I think is the bolter that all these teams need. It's fast grounds, they're going to have super fast play, and I think he would have really brought something that they just don't have.
Do you know this guy, Rich? Christian Wade?
Yeah, the problem is his defensive capabilities are very, very suspect. And, I mean, there's another guy, Johnny May, as well, that a lot of people are talking about. And again, I mean, what lets him down is his defence. But in terms of their offensive capability, they're both like absolute lightning.
Yeah, I mean, Wade's top of the try scorers. I think he's got 16 tries this year in the league. Top with Tom Van Dale of Wasps as well. So, those two guys are really scoring for fun. But unfortunately, both of them turn like tankers, so they can get chipped over the top and beaten.
Well, a number of weeks ago, before the squad was announced, we went through and we did our Lions 15, our starting 15 for the first Test match. Everybody was fit.
We didn't really sort of expect Rob Shaw to be omitted. I think that was a real surprise.
Not for me, actually. Not for me.
We thought he would probably get a place, but I think it was a surprise to not pick him at all, because his form for England in the Six Nations was excellent. I mean, even in the defeat in Cardiff, he was the standout player for England.
Yeah, 100%.
But then you look at the other loose forwards that have been selected; they've all been in tremendous form as well themselves.
Well, apart from Richie Gray.
Yeah, absolutely. I think if you're looking at a second row who's out of form, he's the guy. And again, you look at the young guy like Joe Launchbury, who
that's one that Richard
come from nowhere in terms of international status, and I think he'll look at that he's unlucky not to go, but he's 21 years old. He's got a lot of learning, and he's got a lot of rugby in him.
And I think it was a mistake not picking Ben Morgan as well.
Yeah, if he can stay fit. Yeah.
I mean, since he's been back from injury, I mean, his form's been superb. And he really is. He's such a hard man to bring down. He's so good with the ball in hand, and I think he cements the scrum as well. He's such a powerful man. But the things, a lot of Gatlin's decisions, I mean, he's gone on past reputation and past form rather than current form, which I think is a little surprising, really. And certainly, I think that's the case with Richie Gray and also with Dan Lydiard. Very, very good player, but he's back from injury, hasn't played that much. So he's picking him on last year's form, not his current form.
Yeah, Lydiard especially, and also I think he's a fly half short.
I think he's done only that. Two fly-halves have selected, and Sexton and Farrell, which I think we knew were going to be there. But the third person, I think a lot of us were expecting Craig Laidlaw, who can double in the scrum half fly-half position.
Yeah, I think if you look at it on a logistical point of view, that one of them's going to have to start, one of them's going to have to be on the bench for quite a few of the opening games. And I don't see any quality coming through to fill that role should there be an injury.
Well, Johnny Wilkinson is going to be on standby.
Yeah, and I think we'll see him out there personally.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%.
Because again, it's in today's papers as
I
well.
think it was
Rob
just
Shaw as well is on standby. There's a couple of English players and names that you guys mentioned that are on standby as well.
I think it was purely for diplomatic reasons that he wasn't named in the squad, because he said that unless he could meet the whole criteria for the whole do the whole itinerary of the tour, then he shouldn't be selected. But if he comes on as a substitute, well, he's not in any way compromising the way that the Lions has run, really, and the history of the Lions.
Turn our attention very quickly, guys. The clock seems to be ticking, as usual, very quickly this evening. A little look at the lineup, semi-final lineups. Not too many surprises. We knew this was going to be the lineup. It was just a case of home semi-finals or away. Saracens take on Northampton Saints. Leicester Tigers versus Harlequins. For me, I don't know, guys, if you agree with me or not, it looks to me that it could very well be a Saracens-Leicester Tigers final.
I think both games are going to be incredibly tight. I think it shows the depth of talent actually that we've got in the Premiership at the moment. We've got 4 really good teams who are competing. I think Tigers will get there. I'm not sure about the other one.
You don't think the home advantage is absolutely crucial in this time? We've seen home advantage, how important that is in Super 15s. Do you think the same applies here, Rich?
Yeah, I think Saracens will be strong at home, and I think they are the favourites to go through in that game. I think the close one though is really going to be the Harlequins.
Yeah,
game.
that one for me
it's
looks
really difficult to call, because there's 2 teams just absolutely packed with talent, and the only thing that might slightly sway it in Leicester's favour is that Harlequins. I know they've picked up at the last game or two, but they had a terrible run of form after the Six Nations. And they lost some big games as well, which, the quarter-final in the Heineken. They also lost, the game to Saracens. So the big crunch-ups they've lost, really.
Yeah, that's true.
Pro 12 as well. Semi-finals have been lined up. It's been decided for them as well. Ulster have done well all season, actually. Tremendous form from Ulster. Leinster had a very bad start to the season. They've come back to secure a home semi-final. They'll take on Glasgow Warriors, and Ulster will take on Scarlets. Again, to me, I just see those 2 teams, the 2 home semi-finals, advancing to the final of the Pro 12.
Yeah, I think in those games, I think the home advantage is crucially important. I will lay my cards on the table and say that of all the rugby in the world, it's probably the league I watch the least, so I probably have the least to comment on it. But yeah, I think the home advantage there will be crucial for both.
Okay.
I mean, you can understand, because it really doesn't have the same sort of pizzazz, does it, as the Premiership, and you can understand why the Welsh clubs want to join the Premiership, Dom.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure. But what was it? What was they wanted? They wanted just the Welsh clubs to join the Premier League. We had this discussion.
Yeah.
But that wouldn't work, would it?
Well, it would work for Wales.
Yeah, but you couldn't just discard the others.
And I think we'd have a better Premiership as well.
You would have a better Premier League, but then you wouldn't have a better Pro 12. So you can't sacrifice one for the other, really, can you?
Well, I mean, the thing is, why not have an Irish, Scottish, and French league or something, or Italian league?
Well, the French, the top 14 certainly aren't going to join anybody else's league, are they?
No, I mean, I really do. I would really like to see the Welsh clubs join the Premiership.
Yeah?
I think we'd have a really, really good championship then.
What do you think about that, David?
I don't know. I think that the Welsh game has been through so many transitional phases. They've never really seemed to get their league structure right, and I think maybe they do need to come into the English league, and that's not derogatory on their structure. I think they do need to have some big games outside of maybe 1 or 2 crunch matches to really keep that league alight. I think it also shows that the weakness of the fact that Irish teams can qualify for Heineken without actually having to win anything in that league. I think if you take the competition away from Ireland, the league is almost meaningless in my eyes. And yeah, so I think if the Welsh came in, it would make the English league stronger, but it would benefit the Welsh more than it would us.
Okay. I mean, the thing is, Welsh club rugby is not financially viable.
No.
And all the 4 main Welsh clubs are all supported, I think it's the tune of about £20 million a year by the Welsh Rugby Union. Now, what they're saying is that as a result of this, the Welsh Rugby Football Union has far too much influence in the running of their clubs. And so obviously, I mean, they would like more autonomy, more independence, and one way of them achieving that is to join the English Premier League. Because you get better, there's higher TV fees, there's higher, gate receipts, you get better crowds.
On that note, gentlemen, we have to go to a commercial break. Thank you very much, David, and best of luck, obviously, for your continuing success with Marbella Rugby Club, and we'll continue to follow the fortunes there as well. I think you're staying with us for the second half of the show to contribute. The other side of this, a little bit of tennis news, some boxing news, and Stuart Joseph is going to be talking squeaky bum time about tomorrow, Wednesday's big game, actually.
TRE, the Monday Night Sports Bar with Dom Aldworth.
This is Talk Radio Europe with me, Dom Aldworth, and the Monday Night Sports Bar, Stuart Joseph, Richard Tilsley and David King from Marbella Rugby Club joining us today. A little bit of tennis news to give you over the weekend. Stanislas Wawrinka from Switzerland beat David Ferrer in the final of the Portugal Open, 6-1, 6-4 to register his fourth ATP Tour title. And the perennial Tommy Haas as well. He won the BMW Open, defeating last year's winner Philip Kohlschreiber 6-3, 7-6 for his fourth ATP Tour title on home soil for the 35-year-old Tommy Haas and his 14th career title. The ATP and the WTA Tour moves on to Madrid this week, and it's the Muay Open Masters. Roger Federer is the defending champion. 3 times winner there, Roger Federer as well. He'll be in action tomorrow. But today, Nicolas Almagro advanced, John Isner advanced, Milos Raonic advanced, Kai Nishikori, number 14 seed, he's also through as well to the next round. Some of the big guns make their debut tomorrow. Serena Williams, the defending champion, is in action. Roger Federer opens up his campaign against Radek Stefanik. Andy Murray, on his least favourite surface, takes on Florian Mayer. That's going to be a tricky one for him. Novak Djokovic, the number 1 seed and former winner, he's on court tomorrow against Dermatrov. And also Janko Tabzarovic, Richard Gasquet, Marcus Baghdatis, all in action tomorrow. So that's the ATP Tour event taking place in Madrid. A bit of boxing news to give you, and WBA, IBF and WBO heavyweight champion Vladimir Klitschko continued his unbeaten streak, marched on to 18 consecutive fights with a 6-round knockout of his former sparring partner Francisco Pianeta. Klitschko improved his record, should I say, to 60-3. He hasn't lost a fight since all the way back against Lamont Brewster in 2004. So tremendous form there shown by Vladimir Klitschko, the younger of the two Klitschko brothers. And money man Floyd Mayweather returned to the ring after a prison sentence and almost a year out as well. He marched on to a 44-0 unbeaten record with an easy victory against Robert Guerrero as well. Robert Guerrero is 6 times world champion in 4 different weight divisions as well. So it was a tough opponent for Floyd Mayweather, but a pretty flawless performance there from the 36-year-old, hurting his wrist halfway through the fight, so unable to complete the fight with a knockout, but certainly a fantastic win there for Mayweather. And the MotoGP Round 3 was in Spain this weekend. It was Dani Pedrosa who stormed to his 2nd win following up his victory there in 2008, comfortably by more than 3 seconds, ahead of Marc Marquez and Jorge Lorenzo as well, the double world champion and twice winner in Jerez. So top stuff there from Dani Pedrosa, getting back into the championship race. And Marc Marquez, 3 podium finishes now in his first 3 starts in MotoGP. He leads the standings there at the moment, but Dani Pedrosa right back in the hunt. The MotoGP returns in a couple of weeks' time. We've got Formula 1 coming up this weekend, which we'll be discussing on Friday, so stay tuned for that. But we've got to now turn our attention to Stuart Joseph and the football that took place during the course of the weekend. The big 3 from London, Chelsea, Arsenal, and of course your team Spurs, all managing to register wins. It looks like that Champions League fight is going to go right down to the wire this season.
It couldn't be better, could it? I mean, really exciting. The next few days or next couple of weeks to look forward to. It could go anyway. It's up for grabs. Simple as that. It depends who can keep their nerve and get the points.
Another cracking goal by Gareth Bale. It kind of highlights what Richard and I have been discussing pretty much all season, that like Barcelona and Messi, Spurs are very much a one-man team.
You've got to remember that all these great teams have a good player in their team, whether it's Ronaldo, Messi, Gareth Bale. I was listening to on the radio the weekend because I couldn't watch the game, and all I know is when I heard in the 86th minute Bale's got the ball and he's cutting inside, straight away I stood up. I thought, come on, Gareth. Bang, back of the net. And that's what he does. That's what Messi does. That's what Ronaldo does. Don't knock him for that.
Does Gareth Bale know about this secret love affair you're having with him?
I was going to say, suddenly you're on first name basis with him.
Because I'll tell you, there is absolutely no limits to Stuart's devotion. I'm looking down at his magnificently prepared notes, and there's a little thing where it says Starman Gareth Bale, and he's done this lovely little border around it, and he's like sort of coloured it in around pink and everything
I
like
must
that.
admit, I haven't told my wife yet. But
And next to that, there's a picture of Gareth Bale on holiday in his Speedos on the beach as well, isn't there?
That's not as bad as that.
No, I think that's the one on his iPhone.
Well,
The screensaver.
well, this could very well be Gareth Bale. Should we see who's on the line here? Good evening, you're live on Talk Radio Europe.
No, this is a Gareth, but it's not Gareth Bale.
How are you, Gary?
All I can say is to Stuart, well done for his team for beating that so-called other Premier League football team. And
Of course.
Just a quick comment to the Wolves, man.
I'll be looking forward to our games next season, Pompey.
Yeah, it's funny because we won't be in the same league as you.
How the mighty have fallen, hey?
I was going to exactly. You've taken the words right out of my cells. I don't know what's happening tonight. I'm just.
Who would have thought two big clubs like ours would be languishing in the
proper
first
big
division?
club.
Okay,
Proper big club.
and a little club who thinks they're a big club like Spurs would be fifth in the Premier.
Gary, tell him Spurs
Who
are
would
a big
ever
club.
imagine?
Do me a favour. Someone tell him from outside Spurs are a massive club.
Well, they might have been years ago, but then weren't we all?
Well, we're still hanging on in there. We're still hanging on in there.
I was going to say, I didn't know if I've prejudged anyone off the discussion before, but I'd like to know what the panel's opinion is, who's going to be third in the league. My money's on Chelsea.
Yeah, I think it'll be Chelsea or Arsenal or Spurs for the last position for sure. I think Chelsea are playing with a better feel. They're winning games. I think Chelsea definitely for third.
And my team this season's got to be Inverness Cali Thistle for what they've done and got through. Anyway, I'll let you get on.
Brilliant stuff, Gary. Thanks very much indeed for that. I'm going to go along with Gary, actually, and say Chelsea for third spot. But if that means that means that Chelsea will get the 3 points on Wednesday night against Spurs and further compile misery on you and Spurs.
Let me
Because
tell you
that's
both
going to
something.
really put you out the hunt,
If
isn't it?
Spurs only get a draw during the week, it won't be so terrible because Arsenal won't get maximum points from Wigan and Newcastle. No way. They'll drop something there, and we'll win our last two games. So whatever happens,
He's
I
turned
think
into Mystic Meg now.
I think fourth place is up for grabs. But I think we can do it. I really
That's just
do.
wishful
Well,
thinking.
we got Mystic Meg, we got Sir Clive Woodward, we got Ricky Gervais. I mean, this is and we got Bernie out. Come on, Bernie, where are you? Give us a ring in the studio and talk about Wednesday's game with Stuart.
Bernie's
Come on.
nervous. Bernie's nervous for Wednesday night. That's the problem.
No, well, I don't think he should be because that Chelsea team, I mean, are playing exceptionally well at the moment. I mean, we've purred about that midfield many times with Oscar Mata and and Hazard, and I mean, they're just such a talented unit. Whereas I think you really are so reliant on just one player, Stu.
Gentlemen, let me just come. Sorry, Rich.
Well, and I just think it's going to be very difficult for you to beat them at Stamford Bridge. I mean, you haven't beaten them at the Bridge for a long time.
We've got a caller on the line, guys. We're going to bring you in. Good evening. You're live on Talk Radio Europe.
Good evening, gentlemen. Bernie here.
Hi,
Thank
Bernie.
you very much indeed. How are
I
you?
know you've been goading me all evening to give you a call, so I thought I'd better.
Come
I still
on.
get over that 90 minutes of scintillating, exciting football of yesterday afternoon.
Bernie, you're a lucky man to play Manchester United. You're a lucky man, Bernie.
Not as lucky as you were. Every newspaper said that Spurs did not deserve to win.
Yeah, don't
on
believe it.
Saturday.
Don't believe it.
No,
You
we
know-
were both lucky.
Don't
we were
believe
both
it.
lucky.
That was incredible. I've never seen Valencia, Anderson, Van Persie. They were absolutely inept. I mean, it was like they were just on
They were
holiday.
terrible, weren't they?
Shocking.
They really were shocking. And I was listening to it with Alan Green on the BBC, and I was quite surprised how poor Manchester United. But Chelsea should have won it far more comfortably. They missed so many chances.
I'll take my hat off to Chelsea because they went after the game and they were the only team that were going to win it because there was nothing up front. I don't think the Chelsea goalkeeper had anything to save the whole game. So yes,
I think that was
you
one,
did
I
deserve
think
it.
there was one or two. I think towards the end of the first half there were chances for Van Persie, and
He was half
I
asleep.
think he blew it over the top.
He
But,
was half asleep, Van Persie.
They
yesterday.
didn't really seem bothered, and I think what proved that was the after-match comment from Alex Ferguson. He didn't really care, and they asked him about the sending off, and he said, well, what can I say? He said, of course, he was elbowed twice before he retaliated. The usual Ferguson rubbish.
Bernie, let me tell you, your man should have been, David Luiz. He shouldn't be playing on Wednesday night anyway. What he did was diabolical. To fall over and start laughing.
Now, as I said, I listened to it. Alan Green gave the commentary, and he said that Howard Webb. I'm surprised
Oh,
he
he's
wasn't
useless.
Howard Webb, because Howard Webb, I think, is crap.
Worst manager.
Howard Webb, he said, has had a
referee.
terrible game. He's given many, many bad decisions, but he got two decisions right only in this match. One, the tackle by Ramirez on Rooney, and two, the sending off. And if you remember, the sending off, the girl, Sean Massey, was waving her flag. She had to get it right, being a woman. She knew she had to be 110% right. And so, and the kicker, what's his name, Robbie Savage, said that the guy kicked him straight away, red card. So, whether he elbowed him, twice before, I don't know, I didn't see it, but there was nobody mentioned on the radio, on the BBC, that he used his elbow.
Well, if I was the referee, I would have sent Louise off, and Lampard, Ramirez, Moses, they're all not playing on Wednesday, and I would have been really happy with that result.
Yeah. Now, the big thing is, there's two things, really. Is one, the referee. If we get Chris Foy, you'll win. But I hope it isn't Chris Foy, and it depends on Bale, whether we get Gareth Bale, the footballer, or whether we get Tim Daly. It's a hard call, that one.
They're a good defence, Chelsea, and I'm sure they're going to mark Bale right out of the game. It's up to Gareth Bale. If he's got the ability not to stand in one place, he's got to move around like he did on Saturday. He moved to the wing. That's how he scored the goal, from being in the middle. But
well, who do you think will mark? Ramirez, Luis, or Ashley Cole?
You don't think he'll play an extra midfielder like Mikel, just a man mark him?
No,
I think he might do to begin with.
I don't think he'll afford to.
Yeah, I think he might start off fairly negatively because Chelsea are pretty poor when they start.
I think he'll
really got to go in the first 20 minutes.
I think he'll put Cole on him. I think Cole will man-to-man mark him personally.
Yeah,
there's no way that Cole will man-to-man mark him, because otherwise you're going to pull your left back out of position, okay? But because the very nature of the way that Bale plays, so he's never going to man mark him with his left back.
I don't see man marking, but it's a problem. I think you're possibly right.
But also Benitez prefers to zonal mark, doesn't he?
Yes, he does. Yeah, I know. Unfortunately,
but you can't.
I still haven't changed my opinion of Benitez. By the way, I still feel the same. I think we're where we are in spite of Benitez, not because of him.
Well, you can't knock him. He's done very well, isn't he? Seriously.
I tell you, what really cheesed me off was the team he picked for the FA Cup semi-final. Not playing Lampard and John Terry. They would have beaten Manchester City in that game with those two playing. But I just don't like the guy. He's a Liverpool through and through. The goal never was, man. I can't help it. I'll never change my opinion. They were slagging off the Chelsea supporters yesterday on the BBC. Alan Green said if it was up to him, he wouldn't even let Chelsea supporters watch it on the television unless they supported Benitez. That's how he thinks people like me are wrong. But you are what you are. I don't like the guy. I never will.
Who's going to come to Chelsea, do you think?
Who's going to go to Chelsea? No, he was talking about Benitez and people not backing Benitez.
Well, what manager? Do you think Mourinho's definitely think the job's all done? He's definitely coming to Chelsea?
Well, who knows? Newspapers seem to say 80% he's going there, but if he doesn't, goodness knows who would come instead. But it's hard called, isn't it?
I'll tell you one thing though, Benitez has enhanced his reputation.
Yeah,
he has.
Beyond all expectations, he really has. And I think that at the end of the season he'll walk away from Chelsea and there'll be people queuing up to employ him because he's shown great character. He's shown real balls this season. That guy, I tell you, he's taken all that crap on the chin. I tell you,
it's the Avram Grant all over again, where Chelsea won it in spite of the manager. It's exactly the same. The players won it, not the manager.
Gentlemen,
You'll never change my opinion, Richard.
Gentlemen, I have to come in there. Unfortunately, we're almost at the top of the hour, Bernie. It's always great to hear you and have you on the radio. And enjoy the game.
I think we beat you 2-1.
I'll take that my way.
But I do agree. I think Arsenal will drop points in both of those two games.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, all the best, mate.
Cheers, Bernie. Thanks for ringing up there.
Bye-bye.
Great stuff there from Bernie.
I disagree with you about Arsenal dropping points.
No, they drop points without question. We're going to a decent team, and Newcastle may need something.
The thing is, okay, that they're playing Wigan at the Emirates, so that again is in Arsenal's favour. Wigan will have played the FA Cup a week earlier. If they've lost it, which they probably will, they're going to be on a downer. So,
I was going to ask you, Richard, did you see the Wigan game? I mean, Wigan beat West Brom 3-2.
Yeah, they showed remarkable character. I thought Maloney was fantastic.
Well, we've talked about him for about the last 10 weeks. He's been absolutely superb.
You can't imagine, you can't believe that it's the same player who didn't cut it at Aston Villa.
Yeah, no, he's been absolutely super. And Villa as well.
I was going to say, talking about Villa, I think they're now safe, aren't they? 40 points, I think they've got. I think that sealed it for them. We had Ken McNaught was on the show on Friday. He seemed to think that a win on the weekend, that would be enough for them.
I think that's enough for them. And the two goals that I can never say his name. The two goals that he scored were just tremendous. I don't know if you saw them. Fantastic goals. And Villa are just on a roll at the moment, aren't they?
What about Di Canio and Sunderland tonight in action against Stoke? That's crucial for them too, isn't it?
Massive match.
It is, because if Wigan win tomorrow night at Swansea, They're going to be in the if the Sunderland lose tonight, they're going to be in the bottom three.
Well, it's a home game Wigan have got tomorrow against Swansea, and Swansea really aren't playing at all. I mean, the game between Swansea and Manchester City the weekend was just terrible. I mean, it was just like watching paint dry. It was just killing out 90 minutes. So Wigan have got something to play for. I think they'll take Swansea out.
Just very quickly, we're going to come back to the Premier League, but just quickly go around Europe. There was a second consecutive and 29th Serie A title for Juventus this weekend. Ajax as well, a third consecutive title for them and a 32nd in all in Holland. Lionel Messi and Barcelona couldn't quite put it to bed, but I think if Real Madrid draw or lose, I think, to Malaga on Wednesday night, then Barcelona will come out on top. But there is one league that really remains as extremely tight. PSG missed the opportunity with a draw on the weekend to lift their first title since 1994. Here's an amazing one as well. Did you know that if PSG do manage to clinch the title this year, there's 6 different winners in the last 6 years?
I thought it had already gone to Ajax, that. I thought Ajax...
No, PSG. No,
sorry.
Ajax, yeah. Ajax have clinched it, yeah. But if PSG won it, then there's 6 different winners in the last 6 years in the French league, which makes it quite interesting. Yeah, it's healthy.
Well, it makes a change from when Lyon, I think, won it 7 seasons in a row, didn't they?
Yes, quite a few times, yeah.
But Portugal remains very interesting. Benfica on 73 points, Porto on 72, and they've got to play each other next weekend as well.
Well, that'd be a tremendous game, wouldn't it? Absolutely super.
And good timing for Chelsea as well, because a few days later it's the
final,
the Europa Cup final.
What else do you want to talk about lower leagues and what have you that's been going on, Stu?
Well, I just think the Championship, the weekend was fantastic. There was over 273,000 people turned up, an average of 23,000 to watch the last week of the Championship games, which went to the wire. I mean, everyone probably knows about it, so I won't repeat it. But Leicester played Watford in one semi-final, Crystal Palace played Brighton in the other. And that's going to be very, very exciting. It'll be a great final. Whatever 2 teams there get through. Watford I felt very sorry for, because they went down to 10 men. They had a young goalie in that made a dreadful error. And my heart really went out for him. Congratulations to Newport for going back into the Football League. They won the playoff of the conference. And it's just exciting. Every week is exciting. The games coming up, we discussed on Friday. Again, all the games coming up this weekend, there's something to play for. We've got 8 games over the weekend, and 6 are very, very important. So it's... As we said, it's going to go to the wire at the bottom and at the top, and I'm looking forward to it.
Malaga in action again on Friday, 9:30 live on Talk Radio Europe against Real Madrid at the Bernabeu. Their loss on the weekend has simply ruled out a Champions League spot, that's for sure. We've got a couple of minutes left, Rich, and you've been champing at the bit to talk about the snooker, and it is pretty fantastic, sensational stuff from Ronnie O'Sullivan, isn't it?
Well, I mean, he's arguably, the greatest player ever to have played the game. I mean, I know that there are many more players who've won more world titles. I mean, if you go back to the days of, I think, Joe Davis. I think Joe Davis won it for sort of 12, 15 years on the trot. And then, there was people like John Pullman who I think won it, 8 or 9 times in the 60s. And then, of course, there's Stephen Hendry. But in terms of just pure, raw talent, this guy, Ronnie O'Sullivan, is absolutely remarkable. And the thing is, he can play with either hand as well. And, if you think that he hasn't played snooker for a year and he's come back just to play in the World Championship, and he's currently 15-10 up and probably going to take the title.
Do you like a bit of snooker, David?
Yeah, I used to play a little bit. Yeah, I think the beauty of O'Sullivan is he's fearless, and he will just take the shot, and is a breath of fresh air in snooker when he came on the scene.
You don't like it, Don?
No, it's not for me. That and darts, I can't sit and watch that on television.
You surprised me. Anything with a choice between pink or brown, I would have thought would have been right up your street.
We got Kenny's coming up next, by the way, as well, at the top of the hour, which is going to be happening very shortly. Just a swift change of subject there, Richard. You're constantly talking about my tendencies and my weight. What is the problem? Do you not like me anymore?
Sorry? No, we're just looking out for your health, Don.
You want to add something that's sensible to the sports show?
Not to what you were talking about, but just a shout for Malaga, because there's only 4 games left. They could get a Europa place spot, which would still be fantastic. They've got a 4-point gap between 6th and 7th. They've got 2 horrible away matches against Real Madrid, which is coming up this Wednesday, which is live on radio, and Barcelona. But they've got 2 home games as well against Seville and Deportivo de La Coruña, who are at the bottom. So if they can get some points out of this and qualify for the Europa, it'll still be a magnificent season.
Gentlemen, that's all we've got time for. Thanks very much, Stu, obviously, for your studious contribution, as always, in football. Rich, thanks for coming in and for abusing me. And David King from Marbella Rugby Club, a pleasure to have you in here. We look forward to speaking to you again in the future. Have a great sporting week.
This is Talk Radio Europe, on the hour. Live international news from Sky.